Hey everybody, welcome to the pre-market analysis that we open up to the public via YouTube every single Wednesday. This is Spartan speaking, by the way. Thanks for joining us this morning. Going to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown of what's going to go on today or this morning during the pre-market analysis. Basically, once I'm done speaking here, Beth will come on, aka Mama's Options, go through the macro environment, go through any of the bigger picture items that make sense to be looking at: ETFs, commodities, et cetera, as well as going through the news events that are going to be happening today or that happened last night. After that's done, she'll go through any of the ETFs or, like I said, bigger picture items that she's looking at as well. After that's done, I'll come on. We'll go through the individual names that I'm looking at that are gapping up, gapping down. We'll go through the news associated with those individual names. We'll build an action plan for those on the open based off the technicals. We'll also go through the SPY, the FANG, the VIX, the Qs, and the IWM. After that's done, South Beach will come on, go through the macro environment from his perspective, any analyst calls that he's looking at for the day, as well as individual names. And then we'll do a quick little recap of those names that I talked about this morning, and we'll go from there. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Beth, and I will talk to you guys shortly. Beth, you ready? It's all yours.
Indeed, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. Pre-market here, SpartanTrading.com. And there we go. Thank you. We got a lot to talk about, right? We're going to look at bigger pictures, but today's Wednesday and we got so much going on in China. It's going to be China Wednesday theme today. Okay. We got some inflationary numbers coming out, of course, inflation, and what I wanted to show you was, if you go back in time, in terms of a few cycles that we would look at, the Spanish flu, right, World War II, then the 1970s as inflationary pressures. I would have to say that it's a hybrid between, because a lot of this is commodities, right? Commodity super cycle. I think it's a blend between the Spanish flu and the 1970s in terms of oil, right? So what I wanted to bring to your attention is if we go back to those, right? And the data coming out today will probably be around 7%, something like that. And that on average gives us a 5%. For the year. So if we take a deep dive back here in terms of Spanish flu, believe it or not, this is really crazy. During that time, 17.4%, 18, 14.6, 15.6. Now prior to that, if you look at 1914, 1915, it was only 1%. Okay, so that's notable. So there, in terms of what the government does, there's no question about it, it's inflationary. But then on the backside of that is, right, they overreact. Remember how they did a preemptive a couple of years back where they were starting to raise rates and the market and the economy just kind of folded and they said, oh no, that can't be so. Okay, so here you go again, right after the World War II, which would make sense in terms of stimulus, right? Government is basically printing a lot of money, 8.3, 14.4, and 8.1. And then don't forget, there's no Fed funds yet, okay? This is like bills that they're doing. This is corporate bonds, stuff like that, right? And then if you go back to the 1970s, which is really fantastic, you see a couple things going on here. 5.7, yeah, and then you get this spike 11%, and then you get this 11.3, 13.5, and then 10.3, and then it starts to come down. So not even close, well, yet, right? The question is going to be, and don't forget, we looked at yesterday in terms of how many Fed fund rate hikes are. Right now, they are pricing in 3 to 4. Going out to February. And we know this because all you have to do is go to the CME group. It's the interest rate countdown. All you have to do is start going through here. And if you go out to February, right, this is where we are right now. If you look here, 24, 29, all the way out. I mean, there's a 99.7% hike. The question is how many. It is not unprecedented for there to be multiple 5, 6 rate hikes in an inflationary cycle. Another thing that could happen is, and it doesn't happen often, is instead of doing 25 basis points, they could do 50 basis points if they wanted to show the market that they realize they're behind the curve and they got to get their ass in gear, sort of thing. Fascinating times we live in. I love it. All right, Chinese technology. This is why Twins and I in the background, it's all about risk reward. There comes a point in time on an evaluation basis that you have to start saying, and this is like what we're seeing here in the States, right? We're seeing companies that were taken to the woodshed, 75, 50% decline. And now obviously on a valuation basis, they're being bought up. We're seeing the same thing. The question is going to be, and I did add on to my FXI, I did not add to my KWeb, I did do another BABA trade still in JD, still in Baidu, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm gonna have to trim some because it's too large a percentage right now. But this is the narrative, right? There comes a point in time where you have to say, all right, at what point is it worth the risk for the reward, right? Alibaba, JD are soaring here, here's why and who to thank. Right, well, basically, I would think the Chinese central bank by keeping quiet, the regulatory actions, the quiet thing, right? It's about time. You know, don't forget the Chinese, they invest in their own markets, they invest in all these stocks as well. Right. Okay. She's saying used car market. She's also saying that that the buildup in terms of inventory is just that they're restocking. Whatever. Just can't get excited about that. Okay. Take a deep breath, value growth ratio. What happens when it starts to break out? And you know, it's starting to really start to get its jiggy going on. Going back to 1929. What happens? Well, I don't know. I can't get excited about this. I'm sorry, but 0.7%. Seriously, this is what we're getting excited about? We have so many other things we can do right now than that. Let's go farther out. Okay, all right, here we go. 6 months, 6.3%. And then 1 year, 13.5%. Once again, I continue to tell you that Treasury bond, if you have the ability to peel some off, I started doing this, 10,000 is the max. Doesn't matter, you're gonna get 7%. 7%, and you could do, you know, every year 10,000. It adds up really fast. The rule of 72, right? Anyways, let's take a peek here. This is a macro. Let's see what the fund flows. Yes, you can see here, starting this year, it's pretty light, but it's quarterly, so we'll see how it plays out. There was obviously January to March last year, and then October to December. Cash on hand, as you can see, you know, has been dwindling, but now it's starting. So a lot of the stuff that we're seeing in terms of fund flows is actually staying in cash right now. And a lot of people who basically capitulated, that's the law. That's human nature. When you cannot stand it anymore, and you basically have to say, uncle, invariably 9 times out of 10, you're the law. So we're starting to say that right now. Equity money market ratio, assets still going up, that's bullish. Retail money market, this is bullish, right? Mutual fund cash levels, starting to go up again. It's still bullish, it's really low. And then somewhere along the line, the consumer sentiment number is going to go up, right? All right, option speculation index coming in, interesting, right? Got a divergence going on there. Let's take a look at the most active in terms of changes coming out of SPY, coming out of Qs, coming out of some. Where did it go? LQD. Wondrous times, and then J&K, interesting products, right? So anyways, moving right along here. A heat map. We had a nice little tailwind here, lots of green. Now it's not as, don't forget, once again, energy continues to kick ass. This has been going on for a couple of weeks now, right? It can stay extended a hell of a lot longer than it can on the downside. So you don't want to pick a top. This is Keynesian theory 101, right? Market can stay liquid longer than you can by picking tops, right? Anyways, breadth here, you can see right here, we're still Qs and IWM. I still think we have to see a rip your face off FOMO type rally in these two. That's just my story, and I'm sticking to it. XLY coming down. We'll see if it starts to bounce here. It looks like it is going to start to bounce here. And this actually would be a bullish divergence, right? Here's IWM breath that was taken to the woodshed, you know, this. Starting to curl up here, so that's a positive, right? Here we go, here's the SPY coming back. This was the leader of the pack, right? I want money to peel off. SPY and Dow, I want it to peel off, and I want it to go into Qs and Russell. And I also, look, this, you have to look into the overseas markets. I mean, we're talking about small caps, including the US. We're talking about, obviously, excuse the expression, China. We're going to look at some of these other markets as well. Index season, I mean, it's bullish. I mean, statistically, and I kept saying this, going back 30 years, what we saw in terms of last week was so unusual, okay? But it happens, right? All right, let's take a look at our tip ranks. This is really interesting. So yesterday, VIGL, okay, it was assigned yesterday. across the board. I mean, they didn't sell it. They held on. There was a sale going on in terms of Alphabet, 20 million bucks, 10% holder, director, yada, yada, yada. Let's take a peek here in terms of our stock ratings. I love this, and it just kind of focuses me on things that I want to look at in terms of analysts, what they're doing. So if I see anything unusual happening in these names, Ambarella and Wolf, okay, upgrades, nice. Keep an eye on that. And then, you know, with PayPal, whatever, you know, global set, downgrade, well, okay. All right, never mind. All right, what do we got? Yesterday, wasn't your imagination? Energy, oh my goodness gracious. I haven't seen this sort of option flow on the little baby ones in so long. It's wonderful to see. And this is exactly what you would expect in this part of the cycle. We're now seeing the refiners starting to catch up to the physical. We haven't seen this before. Yeah, you would see Oxy, Schlumberger, stuff like that. Now we're seeing it trickle down because the balance sheets are going to look so much better. Right, let's see what's going on, what that means. Tesla, Apple, they keep buying. What was really interesting right here is that AMD, look at the amount of share stock volume as opposed to the average. That was kind of notable. Not so much on the option side. This was equity type trade. Now, Tesla, this is obviously robust, right? And that was 13 million on the upside, 6 million on the downside. And here we have Apple, 14 million, and then 3.5 million. I like Apple right now. No hedges on. We're still in those 177.50 calls. I think they can get in the money. We got into those on Monday, kicking ass. We're already up a few 100%. Let's see if that works for us. Also, Dish that we're in, right? Pretty cool. Right. Oh, I wanted to show this to you. This is a new dude. Liz has been posting it. Okay, look at this. I love it. Crazy, fantastic stuff being posted. So this is the real Fed funds rate. If you look at it less CPI year over year, this is insanity. Okay, but as you know, right here, when this happened, whoop, there was a ricochet. Just saying, right? Lots of fun stuff, used car prices, asset performances. This is just really fun graphics. I just was gobsmacked when I saw this. So Win Smart CFA for my students, okay? Take a peek at it, it's fantastic stuff. This is Atlanta Fed wage growth tracker. Here's another one I wanted to show you also. This is global. Here we go, this is the one I wanted to show you. This is global inflation surprise index. And this is basically where we are across the board, right? Look at the Eurozone. This is just whatever. Look at this. This is just crazy, right? Anyways, that's my story. Also, I wanted to show this to you as well. Gail Eunice. I love it. Uh-oh, that doesn't look good. Anyways, what does it say? If you don't wear a mask, you can go to jail for 57 months. If you do not wear a mask, this is China. Wow. Okay, that's compliance, right? Okay, here we go. CBD, CVS, and things. This has been scanning a little bit. I didn't get into it. JD, I want to see this bounce nicely. Okay, I don't know. Suncor, we're in that, right? Visa, we're in that. XRM, I'm not in. So this is kind of fun, right? Let's see what the flows look like. We're going to rip through and go right to the equity side because I don't have enough time. Let's take a peek. 77%, we haven't seen this in a few days, right? Calls to puts, right? CVNA. It's funny how right before Kathy Woods comes out and says something that somebody buys a huge puts 185, right? 2.5 million. Come on. It's not illegal. Well, it's not illegal. I wish it was, but it's not. This is why I don't like CNBC and those, halftime report and even Kramer. They just pimp nonstop what they're in, and I hate it. Intel, SPY, Taiwan Semi. I love this. This is my 2022 semi pick for the year. So far, so good. We got into this. Well, I've been in it for a while, but now the market's seeing it, right? Okay, so just quickly, we'll look at the bonds. Domestically, you can see here, yield curve, well, not really got anything going on. Yields are dropping overseas, a little bit up, down, all around, right? Okay. All right, so I'm going to skip now to the dollar. Right? Well, actually, no, I'm going to see what's going on here with the German. This is China. I still think they have to lower the rates more. And we know that Germany's almost at flat, right? And it's right here, it continues to push higher. It's a little extended. We have to see how it consolidates, right? Okay, so here's the dollar. This is the tell right here, friends. The dollar should have broken out. People are wild. There's a lot of people in this trade. I think they're going to get smacked. I don't know why, but that's just what I'm thinking. Right? Chinese yuan, I still think they have to devalue their, not devalue, but weaken the currency. Cryptos, let's take a quick peek at that. Wow. Commodities, let's take a quick peek at that. This is what a commodity super cycle looks like. The pullbacks are enough to make you cry. But if you are patient and you look for your spots, you make a lot of money in this type of commodity market, I'm just saying, right, on these pullbacks. Right, lumber's going up again, orange juice, I mean, this in and of itself is what you have to look at in terms of why the Fed is behind. And that whole construct of transitory was the stupidest thing I ever did see. Don't forget, the new voting board for 2022 is hawkish, not dovish. You could literally see 4 or 5 rate hikes as a result of that, if they don't like what they're seeing. Okay, stocks across the border, up, 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 up. China, 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 China. Let's see, let's do it. DAX finally was down. Anyways, I can't get too excited about that. I'm still in FAS. And here's the EFA. Now, this is the one I want you to keep an eye on. This one I think has potential to break out. This is a multi-month, right? Yearly consolidation. Those are very, very, very powerful. Okay, here's the Nikkei. Multi-month sideways consolidation. See how they're all in the mid, right? Here we go. Haven't done the FTSE in a while. It is breaking out. How about that? And look at this. You're talking about a couple of years here. Well, no, just one. But anyways, next leg up. Basically, the upper quadrant is right 76, 72. Shanghai. Still hanging in there fantastically. Should start to grind higher. But to be honest with you, I think you're better served in like the FXI. We've got a fantastic double bottom in place. We did start to reclaim this pivot down here. Okay. Next thing is next level here, and you can see we're above these levels. So now what has to happen? Now that we've got what would be considered a low, right? Now we basically put our fibs on and we see where we're going. So you would expect this sort of bounce, this 38.2%. And you can see it's also in cluster in the EMAs, right? This is a monthly, right? So I'm looking for 42.60 on the FXI on this move. What I'm going to start to do is right against it. I got a lot on, right? This is the A shares, right? Well, not A shares. This is the Basira A50, okay? Not good. Why? It's really heavily weighted on, the financials, right? Here you see the A share, same thing coming down a little bit. Let's take a peek here. Let's do it. K-Web at double bottom in place, starting to grind higher. Next pivot point is, as you can see right here, comes in at 40.16. I'm in both of these, pretty good size. EEM, I don't like this one, but it's less expensive. I don't like that one. CQQQ, this is the one that's really interesting. Double bottom trying to reclaim some support. So you know how we were talking about the Qs against the CQQQ, right? Coming back down. So I thought that it would be the Qs weakening, but what it's turning out to be is the Chinese market's ripping. Okay, and our Qs are not catching up. I think we hold this pivot, right? The 30, the fib right here. I think, not sure yet. Keep an eye on that one. All right, let's do it. MCHI, double bottom, the drill here, all of these look like they have a double bottom in place on the monthly. They held, this is interesting. This is MCHI against the K-Web. So the MCHI has been strengthened against the K-Web, and this is why I'm in K-Web and I'm not in MCHI, because I want to go where, as you can see, a double top. So the K-Web should start to strengthen against the MCHI. That's why I want to be in the KWEB. I want to be in the one that's going to be stronger. Chicks. I love this name. Consumer discretionary, right? Not much going on here. This is the weekly, but you can see here we do are consolidating. We do on the monthly. You can see we also have a double bottom in place. So much work has to be done on this one. So on a lot of these, you know, you just basically put your downtrend lines, and then, like I say, a lot. This thing can really rally up to here, 28.50, and still not, you know, 10% more, and it's still being a downtrend, right? So here's the FXI against the chicks. FXI is starting to break out against the chicks. So I'm showing you KWEB, I'm showing you FXI. These are the ones you want to be in terms of an ETF because they are starting to show strength. All right, let's take a look at Bobalicious. Wow, this has got so much resistance on the top side. Here we go. This is the weekly. It's a pretty looking little thing, holding this up trend line, but a lot of work to be done. You would look in this one minimally. I think we're going to go up here the 216, 220 on Baidu. Yep, I said it. JD, finally double bottom in place, what we wanted to see. Okay, starting to reclaim, lots of work to be done with this as well. I did not add to my JD. What I did was I still, like I say, a lot, if you think about it, in these ETFs like in KWEB, well, KWEB and FXI, the top three basically are Tencent, Baba, and Meituan, right? But JD's in it as well. I just didn't want to deal with it. I got a lot on, so I didn't want to deal with it. Keep an eye on this future, double bottom in place as well. And here you can see here, this is the pivot point, 50.35 on the upside. Still has work to be done, but is looking better. Like I say, put your fibs on them now. All right, this is Meituan. This is what is recently new in Hong Kong, right? And you can see here that we have a triple bottom in place, quadruple bottom in place. Let's see what happens with that. Like I say, this is one I want to be in because it's in KWEB and FXI. It's the top three holdings, right? Here's PDD, consolidative on the weekly, looking mighty fine. Let's see if we can break through this 69. So I still have these 78.6% fibs in. That's a pivot point for me right now. Let's see what happens with it if it continues on. Looking pretty good on the daily. I know Spartan is shouting that one out. So here's Wuxi. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that right, but this is also one of the top holdings in some of these. This is a bio, okay? Double bottom here, and you can see it's, anyways. So I'm just showing you the look of some of these ETFs, what's the components are right now. This is Ping An Insurance, same thing. So a lot of these basically are getting fund flows, and you cannot ignore this. Here we have Bobalicious on the monthly, reclaiming. Look at this triple bottom. We have a bottom in place officially, and now we're basically trying to re-enter this quadrant right here. All right, it is now, as you can see here, we've reclaimed that, so we have to do our fibs now on this one. So once again, when you have these sort of bounces, you're looking for, because it's such an aggressive sell-off, I'm looking for 189 on the bounce. I know I said that, right? I did. Here we go, Baba CQQQ. It is starting to kick ass. So Baba is the strongest right now of the Chinese names, right? Let's see if it can continue to break out here. This is last week's high. Let's see if it works. Then we start to look at it. This has got a lot of room on the upside, friends, right? A lot of room. Baba chicks. Same theme as there. Baba is kicking ass. Well, I shouldn't say that. Baba is starting to have a basing look to it. And if that is the case, it can have a rip your face off type round. That's it. All right. Welcome, my friends. Pre-market here, SpartanTrading.com, Wednesday, live YouTube stream. This is what we do every day, Monday through Friday, as long as the market's open. All righty, so are you ready to come on? If not, I shall continue on. I'll wait for him to pop. If he pops on.
Just a minute, Beth, please.
Not a problem. All right, so here's Bob against KWEB. Interesting, right? So it did pop, okay, then it pulled back. So what is this telling me? This is telling me that Tencent and Meituan are starting to get the jiggy going on. That's what it's telling me right now. I don't mind that at all because I'm in KWEB and FXI. So here's Bob against Tencent, just taking to the friggin', all right. How bad has it been? Baba has lost 59% of its value against Tencent. 59% cut in half. So if indeed we are going to rally here, We got some nice room on the upside. This is where I think we're going. So that would be 3, right? So let's see what that looks like in terms of on the price range. If it does happen, okay, that would be right here. So this would be 55%. Okay, it's fascinating when you look at this stuff because of where we are in terms of valuation. Here's Meituan, Babalicious. Meituan is starting to weaken against Baba. This is a good narrative for us. And this is why I did add a little bit to Baba because I was underweighted. And it being in FXI and KWeb, I'm underweighted. So that's why I add a little bit more to my Baba as the spread. It's working fine. All right, here we go. Baba JD trying to break out here. This has been going on a long time, friends. It's a monthly. So this has been going on since 2018. Yeah, you gotta love it. If it does keep going, then you're talking 383, you know the drill, that's a lot. Off you go. Baba Baidu. Still consolidated, but it's picking up a little bit. So what has to happen here? You know, we got this pivot right there, and then we get, you know, the next leg there coming in, right? So let's take a look at that. Just move this up a little bit. There we go. So we have a little bit of room. Let's see if we can break out. This is the pivot point right now, and if that gets taken out, then up there. And then what I'm going to do is, if we can actually break that out, then I'll switch the fibs around. Baba PDD. So, as you can see here, Baba has been rallying. This is the only one that's been rallying against is PDD. So if that's the case, PDD has some room to go higher robustly. If this is indeed what has to happen here, well, first off, it has to break this pivot, right? This uptrend line that's been going back. Just telling you, right? Keep an eye on that. All right, let's quickly go through the XPEV. You can see a consolidative. It has reclaimed the mean. Let's see what can happen with that. Let's take a look at XPEV against Lee. Still strength here. It did pull back, but it's still holding. If that breaks down, I might rotate out of XPEV and into Lee. His NEO against XPEV, NEO just continues to look bad. But one would expect this to start going higher. And if that's the case, then once again, I'll rotate out of XPEV, which I've been in. And here's NEO in and of itself, quadruple bottom. Should we bounce the mean? That's 36.33. I'm not kidding when I told you I was going over China. Here's Lee, sideways consolidation, multi-month. You know the drill since last year. Well, that's good. This has been going on for a while, right? So since 2020, October 2020. Neties, we don't talk this much about it, but look at this one. This has a little bit of opportunity going on here. Keep an eye on this one. This could be a fun one on the monthly. Diddy. I don't know if I should even look at this, but anyways, people still trading. This tall. Is EDU. I know I have to, right? It's part of the composite, the makeup, right? All right, VXN, let's talk. It's still holding this uptrend line on the monthly. This is a NASDAQ. People just don't want to give it up. So what's going to happen, okay, is that when we start to get that crazy rally in the Qs, FOMO on steroids, that's when probably the VXN is going to break. If not, I don't know what to tell you. I just don't know. I mean, right? FANG, reclaiming this uptrend line. Okay, that's good. This is a monthly. Okay, it's starting to look a little bit better. Still a red candle. Let's see what happens this monthly, right? We got a lot of time in place right now. SPY growth value. I don't know. Technically, it reverted back to the mean. I'm not thinking we go any lower. If we do go lower, then you know what's going to mean. That's going to mean, right? S&P, LFG. So here's the SPY.
All right, Beth, we're ready to pop on
All
here.
right, my friend, let's do it. Let's have some fun.
Hey guys, CPI data just came out on the SPY here. Getting an initial little pop. It's 0.5 versus forecast 0.44%. FYI. US CPI year over year, actual 7%, forecast 7%, previous 6.8. Okay. Okay. All right. We'll have to keep an eye on the SPY, see what it does. But looks like we're pretty much in line here. Anywho, let's take a look at what we got going on this morning, guys. So if you're new to chat, make sure to click that Discord link that's emailed to you. When you do come into chat, you're going to see the Discord and it's going to look like this. We'll go over the stuff once I do close down the YouTube stream, but go to the disclaimer section, give that a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section and read from the top down. And we'll go, like I said, we'll go through that after. Pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today, guys? Couple different things. Tesla, Shop, Lilly, Baba, PHG, and IMRN. Tesla gapping up slightly in sympathy with the market. Shop, William Blair upgrades to outperform. Lilly, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS. Basically, they're saying that they require some more information, et cetera, for one of their drugs. Baba gapping up in sympathy with China, slow inflation data. Also, Barclays maintains overweight on Alibaba, lowers price target 247. PHG, Philips Q4 profits hit by supply chain shortage, product recalls, and then IMRN receives a $6.2 million award from the US DoD to clinically evaluate a military strength dosing regimen for Travelin. All right, let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. First two we're looking at today, guys, are Tesla and Shop. All right, so Tesla Shop, let's have a look. Tesla, a little bit of a gap up here. Basically wanted to keep this one on the board just because I like that bullish consolidation that was occurring yesterday. I think we can see a nice continuation push today based off of it. We're holding a 50 EMA support on the daily, looking to get above short-term EMA support at 13, which we are currently above. We need to hold above that level. It's around 1066. Pivot to the upside today is going to be 1078.70. If this level is able to be reclaimed, we got room towards 1096.07 to 1119.63. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 1047.55 to 1024.39 on the downside. Leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a continuation push higher on that name today. Let's take a look at Shop. Let's get some EMA resistance levels here. Alrighty, let's take a look at this thing intraday. So Shop, a little bit of a gap up from last day. Could have a decent amount of room today. Pivot to the upside today, 166.14 level holds, 1215.71 to 1254.61 can be tested. Unable to hold 1119.63 to 1096.07 on the downside. Overall on Shop, going to be leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point is able to hold. Basically coming off the lows, downtrend break, we got some room to push off of those levels for a continued bounce on the upside. So that's Tesla, that is Shop. Let's take a look at the next two names here. Lilly and Baba. All right, that should suffice for Lilly. Let's take a look at the thing intraday here. It's a little bit of a gap down today. Basically on that news requiring more information. I guess we'll keep it there. 251.21, guys, pivot to the downside today. This level is unable to hold to get room towards 248.15 to 244.53. If that level is able to hold, pivot, look for a bounce back towards 255.06 to 259.82 on the upside. Overall, Lilly going to be leaning bearish, neutral, looking for a continuation pull to the downside today if that pivot point's unable to hold. So that pivot point unable to hold, we should have some more room lower. Let's take a look at Baba. All right, Baba guys. Do like it off the lows. You know, we've been in this thing and out of it plenty as of late. I guess 144.36 will be the level above. Okay. So pivot to the upside today, 134.33, 134.13. That level is able to hold 139.04 will be tested. That level breaks. That 134.36 level will be the next resistance. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 128.73 to 124.56. Names coming off the lows, downtrend break, room towards the, room now above the 50 MA for continuation higher. I think it's a good looking daily chart, guys, off the lows. And I do like the risk reward from these areas to the upside at the moment. Definitely a name with some range and some pretty good strength as of late off the lows. So that's Lily, that's Baba. Let's take a look at the next two, PHG and IMRN. That's what'll pop on the video here, guys, FYI. All right, PHG, let's take a look at this. So stock's coming off the, well, not coming off the lows, but stock got rejected at that 50 MA on that news, pulled pretty much all the way back down to the bottom end of the range here. I'm just gonna label all the levels. Probably get rid of that resistance. Keep this one here. Get rid of that 50 MA, get rid of the support. Keep that resistance level. Pivot area there. Okay, let's take a look at this thing intraday. All right, 33.71 pivot levels able to hold. To get rid towards 35.50 to the 38.14. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback to 32.41. That level breaks. We can see further continuation towards that 30 level on the downside. Overall on PHG going to be leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower. Looks like those SPY Friday calls are going to be really nicely in the money, guys. Look at that. 7 points and change so far. All right, let's take a look at IMRN. Pivot to the upside today. Let's actually get that 50 MA. Let's get this level. Let's get this level here. All right. 414 pivot to the upside today. This level is able to hold. We got room towards the 517 level. That level breaks. We can see room to the six. Let's see what it was. 630, I think 8. So 517, 630. Sorry, 684 on the upside above 517. It's quite a bit of room. Unable to hold, look for a pullback towards 414. Unable to hold, room back towards 313, 267 on the downside. Overall on IMRN, going to be leaning bearish, but looking for a pop of the gate and then some talking to kick in. That is PHG, that is IMRN. All right, let's take a screenshot of these two. Let's move on to the SPY and the FANG, which is truly what I want to take a look at today. That is going to be quite interesting. So let's do this, throw that on a daily. Let's go like this. That, okay. All right, let's take a look at the market. So what do we got? SPY. And we talked about this yesterday, 50 MA reclaim. I also talked about in that recap video, but looking for these head and shoulders on the upside today. 273.80. And guess what? We're going to be right into that level pretty quick, actually. Pivot to the upside today right now, 272.04, levels able to hold, 272.95 to 273.85, aka that head and shoulders level. Unable to hold 270.50 to the 269.36 level will be tested on the downside. Overall on the SPY, we'll see if we can hold up this morning. Would expect it to get a little bit more continuation into that head and shoulders level, and then I think we'll probably pull back off of it. We may see more of a consolidative day after this morning's move, and it'd be more individual focused. I think that's probably what's going to occur because, you know, the move's pretty much done on the SPY for today. So they'll probably be going after the individual names a little bit more. Let's take a look at Apple. So we got a nice little push off the 50 MA double bottom area. EMA support short term is being reclaimed. We technically are going to have room all the way back towards the 181s. Pivot to the upside today, 176.89 levels able to hold. Room towards 179.71. So that 182.08 level unable to hold. 173.89 to the 171.90 level will be tested. Overall on Apple, going to be leaning bullish neutral today, looking for a continuation push higher out the gate. And then I bet you what we'll see is as well come in, consolidate, and then we'll have to wait to see what direction it goes. I don't really like trading out the gate long in the mornings, guys, after a big gap up like this. It's a little bit more difficult. I'll have to gauge the market to see whether or not I can squeeze. It's fairly not common, I should say, that occurs where you get further squeeze out the gate after a huge big gap up like this, but it can occur. That's for sure. Amazon right in the realm of breaking this downtrend on the daily there. It's quite an interesting level. Because you're right at EMA resistance as well, which I should label around 325. Yeah. Pivot to the upside, 325.81 levels able to hold. You get towards 33.40, 361 to 33.72. Unable to hold 33.10 to the 32.75 level will be tested on the downside. Overall, going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today. That is Amazon. Let's take a look at Netflix. I had 547.85 pivot to the upside today. Levels able to hold. They get towards 558.82. Unable to hold. You look for a pullback on Netflix towards 539.30 to 531.52 on the downside. Overall on Netflix, going to be leaning bullish neutral. Looking for a continuation push higher today if that pivot point can hold. So that is Netflix. Let's take a look at Facebook. All right, Facebook reclaiming some support on the daily here. 333, sorry, 337. It's kind of a tongue twister there. That level is able to hold 339.97 to 342.57 will be tested. Unable to hold 335.12 to 332.03 will be tested on the downside. Like I said, overall, we got a little bit of a downtrend being broken, EMA support being reclaimed. I am going to be leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push higher today. I actually really do like this setup from a technical perspective. I think it does look good for continuation there. So that is Facebook. Let's take a look at Google. For some reason, I just never have Google levels up. I forget to save them. Okay. All right, Google coming off the lows, as we can see here. All right, pivot to the upside today. 28.11. This level is able to hold. We got rid towards 28.33 to 28.74. Unable to hold. We look for a pullback towards 27.86 to the 27.67 level on the downside. Overall on Google, going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today, if that pivot point's able to hold. So we'll see what happens there. Let's take a screenshot of this and let's move on. The VIX Qs and IWM. VIX 1775 pivot levels able to hold. We got room towards 1812 to 1862. Unable to hold. We look for a pullback into the 1701 level on the downside. Overall on the VIX, not going to be leaning any direction, but we can see that it's ready to break down a little bit further here. I do have an uptrend around the 17 level. Whoops. On the daily chart, which we talked about yesterday, and I think that's where it gets to. And then after we get to that area, we can see what's what. But at the moment, that's what I'm going to be looking for in terms of where I think the VIX goes in the short term. You kind of see it right there. So watch that 1701 level. It's going to have some room lower if it, or sorry, 1775 level. It's going to have some room lower to 1701 if it does break. So that is the VIX. Let's take a look at the QQQ. Oops. Okay. Let's take a look at this thing here intraday. So Q's coming off the lows. EMA support in the short term is being reclaimed. Breaking back above this little range support level as well. 387.70 pivot level is able to hold. We're in towards 389.98 to 393.54. Unable to hold that 387.70 pivot. We look for a pullback to 383.93 to 379.02 on the downside. Overall, going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today if that pivot point is able to hold. That is the QQQ. All right, last but not least, guys, let's take a look at the IWM here. So IWM coming off the lows. We talked about this yesterday, getting back towards that 50 MA level. I still think we can this week. 219.16 pivot to the upside today. This level holds 221.20 to 223.57 will be tested. Unable to hold 217.75 to 216.01 on the downside. Overall on IWM, I'm going to be leaning bullish neutral. Looking for a continuation push to the upside today. So that is the IWM. So that's the SPY, that's the FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. Gonna go ahead and pass it over to South Beach in just a second. I just want to say that if you guys are new to chat and have already done so, make sure to click that Discord link that's emailed to you. Once you guys do come into chat, it's gonna look like this. First area to go to disclaimer section, and then click on the new to chat information section, scroll to the very, very top, and just read from the top down. Seconds to hit, certainly summary of how this chat works, hit the how to read alerts, options, rules, and then basically small account, how to pick trades, and then small account trades bolded by me in the option section. And once you guys read through all that stuff, it should be fairly straightforward in regards to what we're doing. Okay. Alrighty. So without further ado, I'll go ahead, pass over to South Beach, guys, and I'll talk to you a little bit. South Beach, if you're ready, it's all yours.
Morning, guys. Okay, hump day. Let's see what we got. We just had a CPI number. That's important. So how'd it come in, right? Month over month, 0.5 versus 0.4. Year over year, it was below expectations. Okay, it was 7%, which is the highest, I think, since 1982, year over year, which is, it is what it is, right? Okay. And CPR month over month, 0.6 versus 0.5. Okay. Actually, I think it's 0.5 versus 0.6. Anyway, the bottom line is the 10-year is down a little bit. Okay. That's why the bond market is moving up a little bit. Okay. So let's look at the bonds, right? We got 1.723 on the 10-year, down from, I think, what it hit about a 178 or something like that at the high, 177, something like that. Doesn't really matter. And let's look at the curve, okay? So the 10-year is down a little more than the 5. That would make sense. Now it's at 172, a little more. All right, so what are we at? 450, 24. So really, really, really flat, okay? So if the Fed starts increasing rates and this 10-year doesn't move up, you know, that curve could invert. We gotta watch that, okay? So I don't think it's an issue at the moment. I just think we have a flat yield curve. But you know, the Fed, they push on the 10-year is just a byproduct of what they're doing. They can't really move that one, but they can move the shorter ones. And so we got to keep an eye on the curve. Okay, that's why I keep talking about it. Anyway, it's down, so that'll change group rotation today, but we'll look at that in a minute. Let's look over in Britain. That yield is down 0.035, but listen, all these rates have really moved up since beginning of the year a lot, or the week before, or whatever it was. All right, so rates are up a whole bunch. And like I said earlier in the week, if rates just stop going up, I think that these high PE tech names and the like could have a meaningful move, which is what we're seeing. Okay, so rates have stopped going up. They're hanging out at these levels, and we'll see what happens from here, okay? The thing that keeps going in my head is when Jamie Dimon started talking about a shallow recession. I don't know why he started talking about that if it wasn't in his head. And I think he's, there's a few guys that you pay attention to, maybe a dozen or so. He's one of the guys. So, it keeps this flat yield curve coupled with the fact that he kind of said that word, has me watching this yield curve even more carefully. Okay. And that would change group rotation immensely. Okay. So we'll get into that as time goes on. All right. So anyway, Germany also down 0.036, and they're still negative. Okay. 0.066 negative over there. All right. Let's look at that curve just for giggles. Believe it or not, their curve is steeper than ours, which is kind of amusing, right? Considering they have negative rates. The 5 years are negative 0.39, the 10 years are negative 0.06. Anyway, rates are down today. Okay, so that'll change what we're going to play probably. But let's get into that in a minute, okay? All right, so that's the bond market. Let's look at commodities. All right, now this oil has really shot out of a cannon in the last couple of weeks, right? It had to hit a high of about 85, and then it came into 65, which is really big move. I mean, oil doesn't mess around. I think it was up $3 yesterday, actually. Anyway, it's up again today. It's 82. So, that's not going to help the anti-inflation cause by any means. And copper's at up 15 cents, kind of moving out of this little trading range it's been in for a while. The old high is around the 475, 477 level. We're at 457. So let's see what happens with that. Interestingly enough, I talk about lumber sometimes because I just can't believe the moves. It just like blows my mind. So lumber traded what, 200, 300 for forever. That was the price of lumber. Okay. And it traded in this little band. And then back in April, as the prospects for COVID got a little better, it shot up. Okay. It shot up to 1,700. Then it moved to, what was it? I think like 300. Okay. And now it's back up to 1,200. I mean, the volatility here is just unbelievable. Okay. It's like a trader's dream. Just don't be wrong. Anyway, that's commodities. Currency market has been boring. Dollar's down a little bit against the European currency, down a little against the Japanese, down against the Chinese currency again. Listen, the US balance sheet is not a pretty picture. Okay, let's face it. Okay, so we got 635 against the Japanese yen. I'm sorry, against the renminbi, and it had been pegged at 7 forever, and now we're at what, 635? That's a huge move, guys. And the euro is up to 114. Okay, so that's a big move in the euro overnight. It had been sitting at like the 113 area for a long time, so a little bit of a move there. Anyway, the dollar looks like crap. Let's face it. I mean, the dollar's crappy. The pound is even worse. And the euro ain't much better, to be honest. So that's currencies. In crypto world, we got a rally going on. Okay, they tested, it seems like a lower level. We'll use 40,000 as support, 50,000 as resistance. Okay, and we're at what, up 2.5% on Bitcoin, up 4% on Ethereum. And how's Solana doing? Solana's up 3.5%. So nice move in Bitcoin. Okay, and that's that. So you see how Bitcoin moves, right? It's moving with these high PE tech stocks for sure. All right, make a note of that in your head. All right, and let's look at the foreign markets. Okay, FTSE's up 0.75%, DAX is up 0.5%, Nikkei up 2%. China's up 1%, and Hong Kong is up almost 3%, 2.75%. So big move there. But that index has been pure crap for a really long time. Okay, Hong Kong index for the last year is down 14%. China about the same. So for them to move up a little bit is no great shakes, right? So that's that. All right. So we got the banks and the Fed, right? We know where the Fed sits. It's just a question of the timing and everything like that. But we got to watch the bond market. That's more important, more or as important as the Fed. Okay. So we got that. China, they have 2 cities that have a COVID situation that are now in lockdown. I think it comprises 18 million people in that zero tolerance situation they got going on there. So that's China. Crypto we just discussed. The oil market we talked about. You know, these stocks are just in fuego, guys. I've been playing in very hard, as you know. And that's that. The virus, listen, I think this is the beginning of the end. Okay, so they said they used a peak. One of the doctors on TV, I think he said, "Oh, that's the thing I got from the head of Mass Gen Immunology department." He said the 11th to the 20th would be peak COVID cases. So we're in that time period. So things should start getting better quickly. The only thing that's crossing my mind is, do you buy these stocks now? Which ordinarily I would do, but I'm thinking, you know, like they're gonna have crappy earnings. Though, you know, like a Party City or some of these airlines or stuff like that. So I'll day trade them from the long side until I come up with some brilliant idea here. All right, so that's that. The dollar we discussed. Let's look at Mr. Market yesterday, see what we got. Okay. Market Dow was up 183, S&P 41, NASDAQ 217, transports 183. So all pretty much positive across the board. Negative side was vaccine stocks, utilities, and restaurant stocks. Okay, that's what was soft. What was great? What was hot on the long side? Well, certainly big oil and E&P were really good. Material stocks were really good. High PE stocks were good. China, good. Semis, cyclicals, FANG stocks. So, you know, the stuff that had gotten smashed, in addition to commodity kind of names. Okay, that's the area that I've been really heavily involved in. I came in with a fair amount of this FCX and Valet and PBR and stuff like that, Exxon. So that's how I'm playing it. Okay. Okay, so that's that, right? Let's move on a little bit. Anything out in individual names that were interesting? So gapping up on earnings were Ida, Nancy, Mary, David. You had ICLR and IART, right? They were all positive. DNA said they're going to meet or exceed targets. That's a stock that Kathy has been buying the crap out of. And she's probably underwater by, I would say her average price is probably in the $11 area. So she's sucking wind on that one. SRLP got a takeover offer. ALLY has a $2 billion share repurchase program. They came out with that yesterday. Redfin made an acquisition, not big, 135 million. Croc CEO is out there saying that the street isn't appreciating this Hey Dude acquisition, where they spent, I think, $1.2 billion. I did go to the website of Hey Dude, and it looks great, actually. And if they could ramp this up, you know, for $1.2 billion, it may work, right? Steel has a new steel facility, okay, and that's that. On the short side, you had this Phillips NV, they missed, the stock's down 16%. Jeffries is down, okay. Now, is this a warning that the bank stocks that report Friday morning might not come in so good? Not really, but Jeffries does do a lot of M&A, right, or a fair amount, and they do trade, and it is a good firm, and they're well run. So I'm thinking about it. I haven't reached a conclusion, but it's definitely in my mind. Okay, DGX was a little weak, and what else did we have? HYZN got a subpoena from the SEC. BIIB, only partial coverage for their Alzheimer's drug. That was from Medicare. So Lilly should be down on that, isn't it? Yeah, Lilly's down. I'm not so keen, you know. I think Lilly's drug's going to be a lot better than this one. So I'm kind of bullish on Lilly. And let's see what else. That's really it. Okay, on the news. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Tonight we have KBH is reporting, so that'll affect the home builders. And you got Delta tomorrow before the opening, as well as Taiwan Semi. And Friday, you got some bank stocks. Okay, that's when earnings start in earnest. You got Citi, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, FRC, BlackRock, like that. Okay, so that's what we got there. Kathy, what crappy stocks is she buying last night? Let's say she bought D's, she bought PAC-B, she bought Square, she bought DraftKings, continues to buy Lowe's. She did buy some coin, and she didn't really sell. She sold some Snap, 800,000, and DocU. It looks like she wants to get out of her positions there. Okay. All right, so that's that. Syndicate, we have one deal from Think Equity. It's biotech. You know what I think of biotechs, right? You had two secondaries, VERX and I think TRC or FRC. I don't know. I never heard of it. And 4 IPOs are coming the rest of the week. Okay, so that's that. In the research packet, what was out here, PayPal was downgraded by Jefferies. It's down on that news. Multiple unlikely to expand. Southwest Air was downgraded by Wolf Research. She's okay, that gal. Stock out of favor, CEO leaving, union issues, so she downgraded that one. I don't think that's a reflection on the rest of the group. I just think, look, Southwest Air has been the best run airline since God was a little boy, all right? So they have a little hiccup here, okay? The CEO's leaving, a little bit of a transition. I wouldn't get too negative on Loft, to be honest. Intel reiterate the sell over at, where was it? Barclays, target raised at 50 to 50. The chart is good, stock acts good. They're wrong, my opinion. Reiterate the sell in Texan. They raised the target to 180. Okay, big deal. That's the second guy that downgraded Texan in a week. And they don't like CDAY. Okay, good for them. Okay. And one of the stock they don't like, APPN, they take the target from 90 to 47. Hello. Okay, so that's that on the short side. Long side, what was decent? So Evercore Light upgraded DoorDash, all right? Target goes from equal to outperform. Target is 266 at 6, and the stock's about 149. Okay, I don't think the guy from Evercore knows diddly about Dash, but one thing I will tell you is that the CEO got on Facebook's board, all right? And I think that's really significant, okay? Why did Facebook, who hasn't added a guy to their board in a really long time, add this guy? It has to do with this metaverse stuff that they're working on. And I think that's a positive for Dash, okay? A lot more important than this dope upgrading the stock. Okay, KeyBank likes EOG, raised the target to 108. Stock's been a monster. Crocs, talking about Crocs from before, Piper likes it. Piper Research is terrible. They have a 246 target, stock's 126. So you can get a rally in this puppy. Okay, that's interesting. They also upgraded Wells Fargo in front of numbers. That's a little bold. To outperform from neutral. I don't know what he's been doing the last month, watching the stock go up. But he takes his target from 50 to 64. One stock that reiterates the buy that I was surprised how much it's gotten killed, a really great company, is this XPO Logistics. They take the target from 110 to 98, but they reiterate the buy at Citibank. Barclays raised targets in a bunch of high PE tech names, okay? I'll just read the names without the target. Some of them are not high PE tech, they're just, tech trading, stuff we trade. So Snow, BABA, AMD, Cruise, NXPI, Plan, Now, Splunk. They reiterates their outperforms and all those names. Okay. Boeing, interestingly enough, had a test flight over in China with Hainan Airlines, and Morgan is saying that's a positive. I would tend to agree with that. They reiterate they like Planet Hollywood. Okay, so that's really the research out of this whole mess. The Dash is interesting, not because of the research, which I went into. Crocs, I think, is interesting. XPO, fantastic company. Keep an eye on that one. All right. And that's about it on the research front. Okay, moving on. Byron Wayne, you guys know who he is? He used to be a strategist with Morgan Stanley. I think he works for Blackstone or BlackRock now or something like that. But he does his 22 predictions, and he's been really good for a really long time. Smart man. All right, he's old, pretty old guy, but that doesn't take the fact away that he's a pretty smart guy. So here are his predictions. He likes value over growth, which we all kind of feel that way. Inflation isn't transitory, duh. Rates will increase 4 times in 22. Okay. Market will be flat this year. Interesting, right? People will get back to normal this year. Gold rallies by 20% to a record high. Interesting. Shortage of lithium, and we won't have a recession for several years. So that's his prediction. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk about group rotation. All right. So let's look at the bond market and see if we can come up with anything that's smart here. All right. The bond market is down 0.033 at 0.71. So I would think that the banks could have a day of rest. Okay. And these stocks that have a high dividend yield become a little less attractive. So I would think consumer non-durables and pharma has a headwind today. Okay. So on the then on the right side of the ledger, the short side, not that I'm going to short them, but I think consumer non-durables, I think drug stocks, I'm thinking bank stocks possibly take a rest day. Okay, and that's that. All right. On the long side, I think these high PE tech stocks will be good. I think FANG stocks will be good. I think the Chinese stocks are going to continue to rally. I love materials. That's my favorite group. And oil and gas. Those are my 2 favorite groups. All right. I think Bitcoin, the point of least resistance, I feel at this point in time is up. And I think these high, beta kind of names like, excuse me, solar and EV should have an okay day. All right. So that's how I see the group rotation. Now, all that is, of course, subject to change. And I would probably put utilities on the sell side of the ledger also. We'll see how it goes. Just, the market has had 3 hard up days in a row. And so I think the rally may be getting a little long in the tooth. Maybe you have a little, after, this rally this morning, they kind of back and fill. But we'll see how it goes. And that's it for me. Let's see, let's have a good day, guys. And I'm going to give it back to Spartan. Thanks, guys.
All righty. Thank you, South Beach guys. Morning. What's going on? If you guys are new to the chat and have already done so, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. When you do click that link, you're going to come into Discord and it will look like this. And basically, I'll tell you where to go once we do close down the YouTube stream. But it'll look like this: disclaimer section. And click on the new to chat information section. Scroll to the top, read from the top down. All right. Pre-market tickers on watch. We did type up everything, guys. If you're watching YouTube stream, you can just pause it and read the action plans here. You can see all the charts that are posted from this morning as well. On the option side, same thing. All right, there you go. All right, so pre-market tickers on watch. Take a look at what we got going on. Tesla Shop, Lilly, Baba, PHG, IMRN, what we're looking at today. Tesla gapping up slightly and sympathy with the market. Shop, William Blair upgrades it to hope perform, gap it up. Lilly, CMS, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, basically saying they need more data for one of their drugs in order for it to be approved. Baba gapping up in sympathy with China, slowed inflation numbers. PHG Phillips Q4 profit hit by supply chain shortage product recalls. IMRN receives $6.2 million award from the US DoD to clinically evaluate a military strength dosing regimen for Travelin. Stocks gapping up on that. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. First two, Tesla and Shop is what we're looking at. So Tesla gapping up. This was bullishly consolidating all day yesterday. I do like the daily chart quite a bit and the hourly. 1078.70 pivot level holds 1096.07 to 1119.63 will be tested. Unable to hold 1047.55 to 1024.39 on the downside. Overall on Tesla leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today. Let's take a look at Shop. 1166.14 pivot level holds 1215.71 to 1254.61 will be tested. Unable to hold 1132.46 to 1087.60 on the downside. Overall on Shop, going to be leaning bullish neutral as well. Downtrend break on the daily, a little bit of room for continuation there. Hasn't really had a great bounce on it either. Lilly, pivot to the downside today. 251.21 levels unable to hold. 248.15, that level breaks. 239.21 will be tested. Able to hold 255.06 to 259.82 on the upside. Overall, I'm really going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side today. BABA pivot upside is going to be the 134.13 level holds. 139.04 will be tested. That level breaks. 144.36. Unable to hold 128.73 to 124.56 on the downside. Overall on BABA leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today. Let's take a look at the next two, PHG and IMRN. PHG 33.71 pivot levels unable to hold 32.41. That level breaks. You got room towards 30.43. Able to hold 33.50 to 38.14 on the upside will be tested. Overall on PHG, going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side today, looking for continuation lower. IMRN 414 level hold 517 to 683 will be tested. Unable to hold 313 to 267 on the downside. Overall on IMRN, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side out the gate, but leaning bearish overall, looking for basically a pop and then topping to occur to take the name on the short side. Alrighty, let's take a look at SPY and the FANG. Market, what's going on here, guys? SPY 472.04 pivot on the upside today. Level holds. Room for continuation into the 472.95 resistance breaks. We see the 473.85 tested. Pivot unable to hold. Room lower into the 470.50 support. Breaks. We see the 469.36 level tested. I'm going to be leaning bullish neutral on the SPY today. I think what we probably will see is if you get a pop out the gate, guys, hit that resistance and then probably pull back consolidation all day. I would like to see a little bit of a pullback this morning and then a curl back to the upside. I think that would be the most ideal way for the market to move, because then it'll be more sustained move towards that head and shoulders on the upside, which is 473.85 today. But we'll see what happens. That's going to be my thought process, at least. We'll know more when it gets closer to open. Apple pivot to the upside today. 176.89 levels able to hold. 179.71 to 182.08 will be tested. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback on Apple 173.89. That level breaks. 171.90 on the downside will be tested. Overall on Apple, leaning bullish neutral. Let's take a look at Amazon. Pivot to the upside today is going to be the 33.25.81 level holds. 33.43.61 to 33.72 will be tested. Unable to hold 33.10.28 to 32.75.44 on the downside. Overall on Amazon, leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today. Let's take a look at Netflix. Pivot to the upside is going to be the 547.85 level holds. 558.82 unable to hold. 539.30 to 531.52, and overall leaning bullish neutral. Again, overdue for a little bit of a bounce on this name, looking for a pivot reclaim, a little bit of a push. Let's take a look at Facebook. Pivot to the upside today is going to be the 337.37 level holds. 339.97 to 342.57 unable to hold. 335.12 to 332.03 on the downside. And overall on Facebook, we got a downtrend break, EMA support reclaim on the daily, going to be leaning bullish for a continuation push to the upside today. Let's take a look at Google. Google pivot upside today is going to be the 28.11.71 level. Levels able to hold 28.33.91 to 28.74.18 will be tested. Unable to hold 27.86.12 to 27.67 on the downside. Overall on Google, going to be leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today as well. Let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM. VIX pivot on the downside today is 1775. Unable to hold 1701 will be tested. Able to hold 1812 to 1862 on the upside. Let's take a look at the QQQs. QQQs, guys, pivot on the upside today is going to be the 387.70. Levels able to hold 389.98 to 393.54 will be tested. Unable to hold 383.93 to 379.02 on the downside. Overall on the QQQ, going to be leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today. And then last but not least, guys, IWM pivot to the upside today is going to be the 219.16 level. Levels able to hold 221.20 to 223.57 will be tested. Unable to hold 217.25 to 216.01 on the downside. And overall on the IWM, we're going to be leaning bullish, neutral on that name as well. So that's the SPY, that's the FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. We're going to go ahead and close down the YouTube stream now. If you guys are just coming in this week, we do this every single week on every single Wednesday, as well as I do post, other videos almost every single day. So thanks for watching.